Today, we find ourselves in the midst of the natural world. A place in which we find time for relaxation, recuperation, and rejuvenation. It is in this place of such untold value, a place that many of us hold dear, in which we all replenish ourselves, that we find that, in fact, this world of grand majesty is actually under threat. Though there are threats to the natural world, there are things that each one of us can do to help. But before we get to that point, we will revel in the beauty of the natural world and talk about what conservation is. Conservation is multidisciplinary. It covers a range of disciplines, from, of course, biology, but to psychology, political science, as well as a plethora of others. It seeks to take action. It is goal-oriented. Its main goal is to seek to preserve the natural world. It is to, more specifically, preserve biodiversity. This includes the many living things across this majestic existence that we all take part in. It is in this endeavor that it seeks to study, to analyze, in order to understand our impact on the natural world and what we may do to maintain balance with it.
Wait, Sir David.
Oh my. Who are you, little fella?
That's enough, Sir David. Wait, down here. Yes. Right here. It's me, Zanzibar the Gecko, and it's time for the animals to speak.
Well, if you want to take over, that's fine by me. You always hear me doing the one talking, and I've never seen the animals so apt to talk before. In all of my documentaries, I am happy to step aside.
That's right. There are many things afflicting the natural world. Come with me, the little gecko, and I will show you, make you understand what's going on with the world. And maybe a little bit about what you can do about it. Here we are, upon the precipice of the earth. I will now talk to you about a variety of the different things that are affecting the planet Earth. There are 5 main drivers of biodiversity loss. I guess that's 10. 5 main drivers of biodiversity loss. And we will talk about them now. For one, there is land use change. I mean, look at all of that. Look at that down there. Especially when you look at it at night, you see all these sparkling lights. That's called what we animals call urbanization. The spread of urbanization. There is just so many humans. Like, the sheer body mass of humans and their domestic animals, like, is ridiculously outweighs the wildlife that is left. Make of that what you will. Anyways, one is land use change. One is pollution. There's climate change. There is invasive species as well as overexploitation. A lot of these are linked to overconsumption by humans as well as overpopulation. Both of those very intricately linked together and driving a variety of the other drivers. So let us go into a little bit of the specifics with each of these drivers and see what we find out. Follow me. So, look at this. Look at all this land use change. Look at this. The sheer amount below me. Look, take a step back. Okay, not me. I meant, you back up. That's right. Look, the sheer amount of land use change across spanning the entire Earth. So much of it, as you can see. This leads to a variety of problems, such as organisms not being able to move around as they normally would, to disperse to new areas. This can be due to things like fragmentation, which leads to habitat loss, as well as the loss of connection between different parts of landscapes that organisms would move across otherwise. And, well, you know what they say about the gecko trying to cross the road. He doesn't make it to the other side. It's not a very funny joke. It's not actually quite a joke at all. It's actually a problem. But here, take a look at this. Oh boy, here we go. I am going to go to my old favorite spot. I have not been there in a while. Here we go, everybody. I'm going to go to my old favorite spot. Let me show you. It is the best. Let me show you. It's so cool. It's over here. I've had a lot of fun there. Oh, here we go. Down here. Oh, into the stream. And here we go. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh, there it is. Right over this edge. Right here. Here it is. Oh. Wait a second. Oh. What happened? Humans. I understand you have to eat, but where's my favorite spot now? I can't get to it. It's not worth going across this. There's absolutely no cover that way. No way I'm heading that way, even if it is my favorite spot. You see this? This is one of the examples of land use change that can affect organisms. This is fragmentation, or the loss of habitat, the loss of connectivity between habitat patches. This makes it harder for organisms to disperse, to make it to new areas. It can be quite a pain. But up next, we have an example of pollution. Well, an oil spill has contaminated my water supply. Well, this stinks. Well, that was an example of pollution. And now we have an example of climate change. Look, humans, what can I say? Things are heating up. It's not cool. It's the opposite of cool. Things are getting hot. And not in a fun way. Look, I have a family back there. I have fish to feed them. But my home is melting. That's right. I said it. My home is melting. Melting. Yep, that was climate change. Now here is another example. Invasive species. I'm just a big old BurmesePython that someone decided to let go into the Florida Everglades. And I'm just gonna gobble up some of your native wildlife. Then chill out, lay down, start reproducing, make a nice population, and we're all gonna gobble up so much of your yummy native wildlife. That was invasive species. They sure can be pesky little creatures, can't they? Anyways, next we will be looking at overexploitation, which is basically when you take too much from the natural world. So when it comes to biodiversity loss, it's taking too many living things, which means it's not sustainable, which then also means it's also not good for the living things, but also not good for humans, because, if you do something like, I don't know, let's say overfish, or overhunt, then you don't have anything left to hunt or fish. Or at least not that thing. And that's, sometimes people need those resources. Anyways, here's the example. Amethyst shark. Me and many other sharks are caught for our fins, which are then used in things like shark fin soup, Also, guess what? I'm at the top of the food chain. And because of bioaccumulation, this means pollutants moving up and accumulating more and more in different organisms as things are eaten and you move up the food chain, there is more toxins. That means I'm chock full of mercury in my fins and the other parts you consume, so have fun with that mercury. Anyways, I am overfished, and one problem with this is because, well, I don't reproduce tons, and this means that if you eat enough of me and catch enough of me, or I get caught in enough nets from you trying to overfish other fish, well, then I am more prone to being endangered or being extinct. Which I do not want to do. I want to stay alive. Don't you? Now that we have now talked about the 5 main drivers of biodiversity loss, now I'm going to have some different animals share their experiences with you and what is threatening them.
Hi, I'm a secretary bird. I come from different regions across Africa. I'm listed as endangered. The threats to me are things like droughts, which can increase in severity due to climate change, as well as land use change. This is the loss of my habitat. This is due to the spreading of cultivation and urbanization, as well as there's the possibility of pesticide poisoning.
What I mean to say is, I am a chimpanzee. I come from across Western and Central Africa. I am listed as endangered. As for threats, the major threat is poaching. That means people kill me. You shouldn't do that. I'm also sold illegally in the pet trade. Please don't buy me as a pet. I do not make a good pet. Also, habitat loss and degradation. That means my home is being converted from forest into things like farmland. There's also diseases that can affect me, such as Ebola.
Hello, I am the majestic male orangutan, of which there are 3 species. The Sumatran, the Borean, and the Tapanuli, which I don't know if I pronounced correctly, but you may forgive me, for I am an orangutan. We are named after our respective regions of Sumatra, Borneo, and Tapanuli. We are all considered critically endangered. Our threats are habitat loss due to deforestation, poaching, as well as our young are sometimes sold illegally into the pet trade. I also do not make a very good pet. I mean, really, why would you want me as a pet? Would you want to pick up after me? I don't think that would be much fun. I grow up and I get pretty big. I'm probably stronger than you.
Hi, I'm a platypus. I come from Eastern Australia. I'm listed as near threatened. My threats, well, main one is the reduction in stream and river flows. This is mainly because of drought, as well as water extraction. Usually this water is extracted for industry and agriculture, and also stream regulation. Also, kind of ironically, sometimes excessive flooding can also cause problems too. This is due to habitat modification, which means sometimes it washes out the shores and other things I use as my habitat, which can cause problems for me. Bye-bye!
We are corals. Climate change is a major threat to us. This is through heat waves. This leads to bleaching. This then causes us to die shortly afterwards. It is hard for us to recover from such. Also, the rise in CO2 in the atmosphere as well causes ocean acidification. This causes us to lose our calcium carbonate, which makes up our skeleton, faster
then we can regenerate it.
Hi, I'm supposed to be a whale shark. I come from, well, a whole lot of different regions across the big ocean. Well, I'm listed as endangered. My biggest threats? Well, the main one, at least, is being caught by fisheries. Or as bycatch in fishing nets. That means that they didn't mean to catch me, but they caught me. And then I die. And that's not cool. Yeah. I also get hit by boats. That's not fun either. That also kills me. Well, those are my threats. Goodbye. Hi. We're back. Now that you've heard from some of my friends, I want to talk to you about the sheer extent of biodiversity loss in the world. It is said that the extinction rate right now is 100 to 1,000 times the background rate of extinction. That means the regular rate of extinction across geologic time. And this time's different because we might be going into a mass extinction event, except this time it is for the first time in geologic history that one species might be causing that extinction, and there's a lot of evidence for it. And that species is, well, humans. Now, I don't want to get you just all down about it, because there is hope. There's things that people can do about it. There's lots of different smart people doing things about it, and there's things you can do as well. And I'd like to share some with you. Now, it's not going to be everything, because if I sat here and I listed everything possible, well, it's going to end up being hours of me just talking at you lecturing, and I'm going to try to avoid that. Sit back and listen to what you can do, so that, well, we don't have a bunch of species go, well, the way of the dinosaurs. Now, let us begin. Well, for one, money can always be donated to trusted conservation organizations. Funding is almost always tight, and the more money they have, the more projects they can do, and the more they can do for each of their projects, the more likely they are to be successful. There's things such as the Jane Goodall Institute, the Nature Conservancy, the Xerxes Society, National Audubon Society, and the World Wildlife Fund, as well as many others. There's also a variety of non-governmental organizations that can help you get involved. These are also basically other conservation-related organizations. So things like Jane Goodall's Roots and Shoots. You can visit the website. I'll try to put it in the description. This offers kids a variety of ways to get in touch with nature, as well as do good for conservation at a very local scale. There's also Doug Tallamy's Homegrown National Park. This, as well as things that the Xerxes Society does, offers resources to different people, such as landowners, to be able to, well, basically take their yards or other areas they live in and transform it into a place that conserves species. That sounds quite fascinating to me. You can also see if there's anything you could do at the community level. See if there's any organizations that do different projects to keep the environment clean for your local community. Maybe something like planting a community garden where you lessen your impact then on the environment. It could be things like planting pollinator gardens, boosting the biodiversity in your yard, other people's yards, maybe around your school or in a park. There's a wide plethora of cool projects you could possibly be a part of if you just look, see who wants to get involved. Well, there's also, of course, the 3 R's, reduce, reuse, and recycle. I do want to cover quick, though, that often recycling is touted as the most important one, or seems to be. But the truth is, a lot of what we recycle doesn't end up getting recycled. So this doesn't mean you shouldn't recycle, it's still important, but it's much more important to reduce and reuse. So one thing to do is, before you buy something, this also will save you a lot of money, is you ask yourself if it meets one of these 3 criteria.
1, do you need it? 2, will it mean a lot to you, even after, a longer time period like is a month or a year? Or 3, is it useful? Is it something you need to be able to use? Will it remain useful for a time? If it doesn't match any of these 3 criteria, you might be able to convince yourself that, well, you don't need it. Well, another thing with reducing and reusing is, well, before you throw things away, think about if there's maybe some way you could improvise, use it for something else. Or is there someone who might need it? Don't just throw stuff away. If there's something that is donatable, clean enough to donate, you should donate it. Give it to someone who might need it. That's a good idea. There's also a wide variety of ways to conserve different resources. So, this could be things like conserving water, little things, taking shorter showers, all that kind of stuff. A big one, though, is to save heat. This saves you a lot of money, too. Make sure you insulate things well. Use insulation kits on windows. Make sure your window seal and your door seal is good. These things save a lot because heating costs a lot of electricity. Use a toaster oven instead of a full oven if you're cooking something smaller, because heating that whole oven ends up actually costing you a lot of electricity, a lot of heat, a lot of money. You can also look into renewable energy for your home. That's another possibility. If you can't do this, save electricity. Like I said, with heating, there's a lot of different ways to do this, like using the smaller toaster oven. It can be unplugging things when you don't need them. Another way to save on electricity and heat is to wash your clothes in cold water, if at all possible. Now I know sometimes it's hard to make some of these changes, and it's not about changing everything and being perfect all at once. It's about making, little steps here and there along the way to improve. And if some you don't think are going to work for you, fine. Focus on some of the other ones. Focus on what matters to you. But there are even small things you can do. If you're going to take your dog on a walk, take a little baggie with you and pick up trash along the way. It could be big things. So one of the big ones would maybe be a career in conservation. Now, this can mean a lot of different things. This doesn't always mean, you're going to be a biologist. There's a lot more out there. It could be working for a company. It could be working for a company and helping it be more sustainable to lessen its environmental impact. It could be working for a conservation organization, but doing marketing for them. It could be basically managing different projects without doing, scientific research. Though, there is the scientific research jobs as well. So if you're interested in conservation careers, there is actually, you can just Google conservation careers. They have their own website. They offer a lot of good advice on different conservation related careers. There's other organizations out there too. Another one that's good and offers good career advice if you're interested in wildlife related careers or zoology related careers is The Fancy Scientist on YouTube. Well, that was my short list. There are many, many other things you could do. There's plenty of resources online. There's plenty of other resources out there in the world. Other things you could do is look and see if you have any local conservation organizations or any other ones, even nationally, you might be able to take part in or get resources from. They have many, many ideas well beyond what I said. But I digress. I want you to know that you can make a difference. Look at what you care about with conservation, what matters to you, focus in on that. And if people see you making a good change and ask what you're doing, explain it to them. And if they ask who told you about all of this, just say, just some gecko.
Oh, hi, it's the Whale Shark again. I just wanted to thank all the conservation organizations out there, as well as other people seeking solutions to help the environment. Yeah, it's pretty bad out there, but there are solutions. Anyways, I also wanted to thank the places we got information, like the NOAA, as well as a little bit from the World Wildlife Fund, as well as we got a lot of information on, the different status of different species, how they doing. how they're chilling or not chilling. And it also lets you know what threats are affecting them. That's the IUCN Red List. I'll put that in the description down below. Anyways, I just want to let you know there's always things you can do. Thank you for watching if you made it to the end of the video. Also, don't get hit by boats. Boats hurt. I hope you have a good day. Yeah. If you eat shark fin soup, then I think you're a poop. I don't think it's good for you. There's so much mercury, and there's so much you won't be able to excrete it properly. And so, you shouldn't eat my friends, you know, because it could be our end. And don't get hit by boats. Boop boop doop boop doop boop. Blah blah blah.